in the name of Senator Tom Clonan, and it relates to children on waiting lists for complex spinal surgery and limb reconstruction at Children's Health Ireland. Minister, you're not taking this, no? No, okay, that's okay. So at this stage I'm inviting Senator Clonan to move his commencement matter.
I'm going to move this commencement matter, which is to ask the Minister to comment on the fact that we have 150 children with limb deformities and serious spinal issues that are not being operated on. And I know of at least one child who has become permanently paralysed since we raised this issue before Christmas. And I think it's of great interest that the Minister nor any of his representatives have actually turned up here to listen to a commencement matter. And I don't know, Chair, is that a precedent? It is an affront to this House, and it is an affront to the 150 children who are in pain as we speak. And what makes those children different from other Irish citizens? I've said this before. It is because they are disabled. And because they are disabled, they're allowed to suffer on in pain. Can you imagine a child becoming permanently paralysed on your watch as government ministers, despite having been made aware of this before Christmas? And frankly, I won't take a response from you. And that's not personal to you. You know the respect and the esteem that I hold you in. But the Minister has not bothered to turn up here.
Point of order. I'm not in here, I say, come in to do another debate, but out of respect for the House.
I appreciate that, Minister.
I'm not providing a response, but out of respect for the House.
It's not personal to you, and I hold you in very, very high esteem and very, very high respect. But the fact that the Minister and the Department have not sent anybody here is absolutely emblematic of the contempt with which they hold disabled children in Ireland and their parents. And the core issue here is that two spinal surgeons, two of Ireland's most experienced spinal surgeons, came in front of the Health Committee last year and they called out Children's Health Ireland, CHI, Temple Street and Kappa. And they said that we have a cohort of children in Ireland who are not being treated within the therapeutic window. And that makes us outliers in European terms, in international terms. And it means that children are undergoing unnecessarily complex spinal surgeries, like my own son, who is an anaesthetic risk going in for his spinal surgery to the extent that he had to be manually extubated by the anaesthetist, or he wouldn't have survived intensive care. Why is CHI, why is the Minister, why is the Department, why are you putting us through this pain and this trauma? Why are these 150 children being left on these waiting lists without surgery? One of them has become permanently paralysed. Are you listening to what I'm saying? A child has become permanently paralysed. That is completely and utterly unacceptable. And the Minister can't even bring himself to come in here and answer a commencement matter and shows contempt for the House and its processes. So the two senior surgeons came in here to the Health Committee and basically blew the whistle on the mistreatment and ill-treatment of disabled children. And as a consequence, they are now both the target of whistleblower reprisal from the management of CHI. Now, I've seen them in committee. I attended the committee and spoke at it before Christmas. And their contributions to the Health Committee were not credible. Their position is not tenable. And I want to know if the Minister or the Taoiseach or the Taoiseach actually have confidence in the board of CHI, because I don't. The surgeons don't. But they're the ones that have been suspended. And I believe that that is an act of whistleblower reprisal. It fits the classic template. They came in here, they pointed out the deficiencies in the system, and now they have been suspended. And as a consequence of their suspension, no surgeries are being carried out on children with very, very serious spinal issues. And as I said, we have children with limb deformities that are not, those issues are not being addressed. This is completely and utterly intolerable, and the Minister doesn't even show up here today. The price of this whistleblower reprisal is being borne. The burden of it is being borne by 150 children. And people get in here and they, quite rightly, express concern about children in Gaza, children in Ukraine, but 150 Irish children are left in pain, and I am not going to leave this house until the Minister comes here. I'm not going to quit this position until the Minister gets in here or sends one of his representatives in here. It is completely disrespectful, and it is emblematic of how the state treats disabled citizens, disabled children, the most vulnerable people in our society. It's an absolute disgrace.
Senator, thank you. Just before you, Minister, I call you. Sorry. Thank you, Senator. You've made your point. I think it is unusual. We have no response, even written response, to circulate to you. The Minister has clearly stated his position. He is not scheduled to take this commencement matter. He has indicated he'd like to say a few words. I'm going to facilitate the Minister for a few moments.
On what basis?
No, I'm not.
He's not tempted to reply.
But is he entitled to speak?
No, he's indicated.
I know he wants to speak, but
I'd like to facilitate him to speak to the House.
I made a commencement to get an informed. I made a commencement to get an informed response from the department, not to get somebody coming in here and talking on the seat of their pants.
Senator,
no disrespect to you, but do you know anything about ortho kids?
Senator Clonan, please. I understand.
Children, you go home and tell your parents what a circus
the Minister
this
is on his feet.
Tell them how we treat disabled children in this country.
Senator Clonan, the Minister's on his feet. Minister,
it's a civics lesson on how parliamentary democracy is abused.
As Minister of the House. Minister.
Out of respect for the House and out of respect for Senator Clonan, I felt it obliged to stay here for your debate. I am not going to respond to your debate. It's an issue I am aware of, but I do not have a confidence in, and it's not ministerial. I do undertake to go back to the Minister to find what exactly happened here. I suspect he'll follow up in the House that the Minister was not in the House today to respond to your commencement matter, which I see are hugely committed to, and a very worthwhile cause, and to find out what the circumstance in terms of the script. So I undertake both to you and to the House to follow up out of respect for everyone here involved. Okay?
Thank you, Minister. Before we go, Senator Clonan, you have 1 minute to respond, as is the process in commencement, so you'd like to respond. 1 minute.
Thank you, Minister. I have 1 minute to respond, and I appreciate that you, out of respect for the process, have undertaken to respond. But I want you to know that we have 150 disabled children in need of complex spinal surgery, children like my son, who are being allowed to deteriorate because of a vendetta on the board of Children's Hospital Ireland against 2 senior surgeons who raised concerns about the mistreatment of Irish children. We have it within our gift to resolve this problem today, but the Minister is refusing to do so. And that is a rhetorical device saying this is a matter for the CHI. The Minister can give authority to CHI or the HSE, but he cannot cede responsibility. Minister Donnelly is responsible for everything that happens or fails to happen in his department. And these 150 children are on him. And he didn't show up here today. Nobody from government, apart from yourself for a different matter, showed up. And we had ministers come in here to respond to questions about listed buildings for An Post, but they won't come in to respond to a commencement matter on children with disabilities. It's because children with disabilities and disabled citizens in Ireland are considered to have less human value than other Irish citizens. That's been my lived experience. That's been the experience of these families. And would you know, one of the parents rang me last night, and in the background his child was in bed in pain. She couldn't go to school, and I could hear the mother trying to explain to the child that daddy is on the phone to a senator to see can we get help.
Thank you, Senator Clonan.
Where is the Minister? Where is? I'm not going to. I'm sorry, Chair. You're going to have to remove me from this chamber.
Now, Senator,
you're going to have to remove me from the chamber.
I'm chairing the Senate.
I don't care. There are 150 children in extremis. I've raised this matter before. Nobody is listening.
Senator
What do you expect
Clonan,
me to do?
please.
If it was your child, here, look. If it was your child, Minister,
clearly,
if your child became permanently,
Senator Clonan,
if your child became permanently paralysed, would you invoke standing orders? Would you invoke a 1-minute limit on a response?
Senator Clonan,
I'm not going to. I am not going. You're going to have to remove me from this chamber.
I'm asking you
because
to take
this is emblematic of the way that this government and Irish
Senator Clonan, I'm asking
polity
you to take your
treats
seat.
disabled people. I will not take my seat. You're going to have to remove me from this chamber.
I'm not removing anybody. I'll suspend
I am not taking my seat. Suspend away.
I can't call on the
Minister. This is an absolute disgrace. And if anybody looking on or listening to this ever doubted the contempt with which disabled citizens and carers are held in this country,
Senator Clonan,
here's your evidence. This is the proof of it. I got elected.
Senator Clonan,
I was outside the gates for 20 years protesting.
Okay.
Protests that fell on deaf ears. I got elected by the people to come in here, a mandate to raise these issues. And when I come in here, it falls on deaf ears in this chamber. They don't even turn up to listen to the questions that are being raised. And I'm not raising issues about expenses or about listed buildings or about, you know, rainforest. I'm talking about 150 children who are in